Hey, it's Luke here, and this is my review for Still Alice. So Still Alice stars Julianne Moore, and this film is about a woman who is a linguistics professor at a college in New York who at the age of 50 is unfortunately diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. And this film is basically about this character's battle with that disease and how she's learning to cope with it and live her life the way she would normally do if she didn't have the disease. And I will just mention really quick that this movie is based on a true story, which is actually really sad. So Julianne Moore in this movie was nominated for Best Actress this year at the Academy Awards, and I definitely think that she does deserve it. She was incredible in this movie. She really was. One of the greatest things about her performance is that you could really see in her character and see in her eyes that she is struggling with this disease, because she's a character and a person who really likes to communicate with people. She's been studying linguistics and communication for her entire life, and it's something that she has a lot of passion for, but unfortunately this disease, with all the memory loss and all the symptoms of it, really get in the way of her talking to her friends and family, and it really blocks the communication that she has with anybody else, and that's really hard for her character, and we can really see that through Julianne Moore's performance. Also, Kristen Stewart is in this film, and she plays the daughter of Julianne Moore, and these two, she has a couple of other siblings, but she is the sibling that I feel was the most connected with her mother, and they were the closest to each other, and they had more of a relationship, I feel, than all the other kids. And I will say that Kristen Stewart, I think she did a really good job of transitioning from that whole Twilight business over to actually acting again, because she was in Panic Room about 15 years ago, I'd say, yeah, the David Fincher film, and she was really good in that, and then she did all the Twilight stuff, and that's what a lot of people know her for, but she's been in plenty of other roles in between Twilight and after Twilight, and I think that she's a very good actress, and she definitely proves that in this movie. I think the chemistry that she had with Julianne Moore really worked, and it made the relationship between this mother and daughter very realistic and believable for the film. Also, Alec Baldwin is in this movie, and although he might not be the most likable guy in real life, he's usually pretty likable in his movies. He seemed very close to Julianne Moore as well. He was a very loving husband, but he also kind of had his job that he had to attend to as well, and I just thought that he did a good job playing this character. One of the things that I wasn't too crazy about with this movie was that it wasn't the runtime, but it was the pacing. I thought the first half of this movie was really good when we got to see Julianne Moore really struggling with this disease and kind of figuring out how she's going to cope with it, and like I said earlier, live on with the rest of her life with this disease. But then the last half of the movie, she's kind of just out of it at this point, and I feel like the movie kind of messes around too much with that aspect of the movie. And I will say that I wasn't too crazy about the ending of this movie either. I was watching it, and they were just having a normal conversation, two characters, and it was just like the rest of the movie. And like I mentioned, I was getting already a little bored with the pacing, and once the conversation's over, the movie ends. It doesn't really have much of a conclusion, it just sort of ends. And I do like it when movies do that, but it really just kind of came out of nowhere in this movie, and unfortunately I wasn't paying the best of attention at the very end of the movie, so it really didn't pack much of a punch and leave me with much to think about at the end, because unfortunately it just didn't really hold my attention for that long. But I do think that this movie is very sad. I am pretty, like, it's a good story to be told. It's a true story, like I mentioned. Julianne Moore and Kristen Stewart have a lot of chemistry together, and she definitely deserves the Oscar nomination for this movie. So I'm going to give Still Alice 3.5 out of 5 stars. So everybody, this is Luke signing off. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.